And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of Culturally Conscious Communications here on the LIB Radio, LIB TV, and LivingInBlack.com networks. My name is Kedia Wadu, a.k.a. The Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, we're live from 9 a.m. Pacific Time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 7 p.m. East Africa Time. We get together with you to deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and human development. Today's date is Friday, the 6th of October, the year 2017 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6257 in the calendar of ancient Kemet 2, which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and LivingInBlack.com. Bear with us, everyone, as we have a few glitches in the machine over here this morning, but we're going to pull right through it. In our second hour, as he does join us weekdays, Irby Phillips Jr. will be here. And his special guest on Fridays, Terry Liggins, T-Raw, a.k.a. T-Raw, talking about health, nutrition, sustainability, finance, wealth development, those type of things. Do stay tuned for a second hour today. In my first hour, joining us once again, he's been a guest on LIV Radio a number of times, and it's always an honor for me to have my brother in the house, Brother Bomani Tayemba from Africa for the Africans, Aquaba. Welcome to you, Brother Bomani.
Greetings, family. Bomani Tayemba here, live from South Atlanta.
All right, South Atlanta, DeKalb, or not DeKalb. Are you DeKalb County or Fulton County?
It's actually it's below Fulton County, in Clayton County.
Okay, Clayton County. All right. Yeah. And we are going to be once again revisiting the topic of Pan-Africanism, functional Pan-Africanism, insofar as the organization Africa for the Africa, the trade, investment, tourism events that you've been doing for over 10 years now.
Yeah, absolutely, Akidi. This is like our 10th year anniversary. You and I were literally getting ready to leave for Ghana, like right around this time, 10 years ago, on the biggest tour to the date that we've ever did. It was 42 people, which is and then now in November coming up, it's 40 of us going to Ghana, Togo, and Benin, which is incredible. You never know if you're still going to be around in these kind of business, because it's straight up hard work and dedication, and you have to just be with it every day, no matter what else is going on in the world.
That's right, that's right. And I tell you, that trip to Ghana with Africa for the Africans changed my life. It was such an incredible, eye-opening experience. You know, I had been to Ghana earlier in the year for the 50th anniversary of their independence, and gone as an individual, but going as part of a group, especially this group, with a particular focus that they had, with the connections that they had on the ground, getting a chance to tour the Cape Coast region and meet and stay with Sister Imicus. It was awesome, times awesome, plus awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, Keely. This is, it's incredible, and that's why we as a people, we have to think about the rest of our brothers and sisters, because I know when I was going to Africa for the first few times, the first time I went to Senegal, I went with a few co-workers. Nothing was organized. I went with the flow because I was just like so open. I still couldn't believe I was in Africa. This was in 2004. But naturally, those are the things that made me realize, and even going on tour with Ranoka Rashidi to Egypt, it made me realize that when we do these things, we have to do them on the highest level and make it completely organized, and really just reach out to our people and give them a proper connection. And it's something that we need to really do special things for each other. Like I'm doing tours, other people do other things. Make your connection, make things special for your brothers and sisters. We have been through a lot as a people, and this is like a perfect getaway. That's why I love doing this journey every year.
I agree. And also, we want to put this into a much broader context. Obviously, the news in the United States this past week is centered around, primarily centered around the incredible mass murder event that took place here in Las Vegas, the majority of the responses that I'm seeing, especially, Brother Bomani, for people of African heritage, black people, is just strictly reactive. Everyone wants to be quick to point the finger at America, the white man, deranged killers. Why don't you call him a terrorism, this and that? It's just, from my perspective, it's all reactive. Now, I've been doing a series of interviews on media across the country this week, as people know I'm a journalist, know I'm here in Las Vegas, so they want it up close and personal. Plus, I have a long experience of doing this type of quote-unquote conspiracy research, if this is a conspiracy or what might be behind it. But what I have latched upon, Brother Bomani, is not so much reacting to the facts of this particular case, but that this fits a much broader pattern. And I've detected like 8 centralized patterns that are broader, that are historic patterns that are converging, and this incident fits those 8, and that it's not going to be getting any better. The point that I'm trying to make, Brother Bomani, is that black people in America are an immensely wealthy, talented, skilled, experienced, creative people that act like they don't have a plan for their own destiny. And that's why, one of the reasons I think that AfricaForTheAfricans.org and these investment tours and these trade tours that you do, and now taking you to the phase of village building in Ghana, is so critically important for our people to get focused upon. I know that was kind of a long statement, almost a rant, but your thoughts on that?
Yes, brother. The Africa for the Africans Repatriation Community and Business Enterprise is where I've been able to take it, because what I've learned is that land is the base of independence. So when we think about those of us who have business enterprise here, most of the time we have business enterprise on real estate that does not belong to us, or we don't have any investment in it. And so this opportunity, because before, when we first started going to Ghana, we never went to Techiman. I didn't know where Techiman was, didn't know where the Bronghafa region was. But through spending time there in the country, being able to just analyze and see things, I realized that this is the perfect vision for our people, and it helps someone like myself be in a location where I can focus and connect with my other Pan-African brothers and sisters to do the work that we need to do. And the fact that you're coming on the journey and you're blessing us with your Koji Chagalia village details and information that we can use to also build that aspect. I really appreciate that, Kitty. That's that's a very honorable thing. So I look forward to really building with you on it and making us really define this and making it really work for our folks and get us away from all of this reactionary stuff, because no matter how we feel about whatever happened to other people who are being gunned down and being treated a certain way, we still have to take responsibility of the things that we have to do to put in place for our children, our race, our people, our future. And that's where I'm at, and just not gonna sit around and just talk about how things are going bad for other people. It's time for us to get to work, and that's why I'm happy to be working with you in our continuation of what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah. It's a plan. It's a masterful plan. And furthermore, I'll go even further, because again, this fits this much larger pattern. We're on the verge of another holiday shopping season. Black people in America are expected this year, because I calculate the numbers. I don't know anybody else personally who's of African heritage in this country that actually goes to the Christmas shopping season and works on calculating how much did black people spend during this time period. Last year, according to the calculations I made, during the months of November and December, black people spent $51.8 billion above their normal average yearly spending pattern. I mean, it's not like that's all the money we spent in November and December. No, that was the increased amount of money over the yearly average spent during those 2 months. With an increase of spending like that, Brother Bomani, we could practically buy a country.
Yeah, we can really build a whole fresh country in West Africa.
Or Central Africa, or anywhere else we would choose our destiny. Now,
but you have to look at the budget for most African and Caribbean countries is very low, and the numbers you just gave that's like the budget for like 10, 20 countries in Africa.
That's right. And or we could, if we should choose to. I mean, I'm not saying we have to leave the United States, but what I will say is, like, Chinese people, Japanese people, Korean people, Hispanic people, Vietnamese people, our position in this country must be consolidated by being backed by a strong relationship to powerful states, international business structures, and powerful international banks. Your thoughts? If we're going to stay here, we better be backed by something powerful.
Yeah, and that's always my thought. It's like those of us who really feel that, you know, we built America and really, you know, we know what our ancestors have done. But it's like, if you're really going to go on that and you're really going to say that, you know, you're really focused on being here, you have to really implement the aspects of nation building that you really need to do and really start building a level of ownership. Because at the end of the day, people are always going to say that we live in all these wonderful communities full of brothers and sisters, but then when we step outside, the people who own the shops, the stores, the business, the enterprises around us are, you know, are in a high majority other race and nations of people. So just like when we're making repatriation move and we realize that we have to get access to land, build communities, connect and build with our brothers and sisters, the work has to be done globally. It's no specific. There's no part of the world where we are where work don't need to be done. So instead of people, you know, talking about us going off in Africa and run away and that we need to be here because we built this, they need to focus and do the work that needs to be done here and realize that those of us who have that access to connection to Africa and in that world of traveling and doing business in that aspect, show us some love and, you know, and give us some support and energy so we can work together. And I'm at the point where there's too many divisions consistently, and we just need to break those things down so we can just connect with each other. And, you know, there has to be a level of aspect where we can work together as a people. All of us don't agree on the same thing, but there's got to be things that we agree on and that we believe that we can work on. Like, one of the simplest things, most of us have children, and most of us want to see our children achieve certain things and not get caught up in this country as victims. So we really need to build enterprises so our children can have employment. We need to really build certain aspects of training our children to be ready for the future, ready for these careers, ready for entrepreneurship, ready for this nation building, whether you're going to do it in America or in the African continent. But the reality of it is we got work to do as a people.
That's right. Now, there are no small number of people, Brother Bomani, who still think that Africa is just a place of misery, backwardness, starving children, poverty, warfare, danger, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. You've seen Africa a number of times.
Yeah, I can share I've been to 9 African countries, Gambia, Senegal, Ghana, Togo, Benin, South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Egypt. And during that expansion of time from 2004 to 2017, it's just been the best times of my life, especially since most of the time I've been traveling Africa, I've been able to share it with my brothers and sisters, and majority of them always talk about how much it has changed their life and how much it has put things in perspective for them. And, you know, even regardless of if they were going to repatriate or stay in America. And it's one of those things where, you know, we have to really build something and be consistent with it.
The people have to see it for themselves to realize Africa has its challenges, no doubt. Africa has its challenges. That is so miserable that it's unlivable is something that's got to be eradicated from people's minds.
Exactly, and that's why people like myself, when I travel, you know, one thing you always see me with, Kitty, is a camera and a camcorder.
That's
and
right.
You know, I'm one of those people that shoots a lot of highlight footage. That way, people can see the different aspects and see, you know, videos of like literally the entire tour, so they can really just put things in perspective. But it's like, if countries like Ghana was that bad, why every time I go on the different flights and when I'm around different countries, you know, I see European and I see Caucasians and Asians enjoying beautiful tours and doing business in the country, and enjoying it to the fullest. And one of the things I noticed, that I never see them having problems. Like, I never see people giving them a hard time, robbing them, or doing bad things to them. And, you know, I'm trying to explain to people the level of humanity and energy that's there in the continent. it's like everyone else is enjoying our continent, and we have that opportunity is right there for us. And so people like myself and you, and when we connect on these journeys and do certain things, it's really to lay things out just to give people a realistic feel of what's going on. Because, you know, you think back in the days, 20, 30 years ago, when you saw the videos of Ethiopia and you saw the starving children, like some of us is like still like embedded in our minds, you know, to where when I get into the conversation, people still, you know, say, you know, refer to those things. But the reality of the continent is progressive, many wonderful things going on, and the only way you're going to really know what's really going on if you connect with those who are doing things and open your minds. But just taking quote unquote based on what the news is talking about and other entities, you're not going to get the fullness of it.
Yeah, that's so very true. We do invite you, our listening audience, to join the conversation today. We are talking with Brother Bomani Tayamba. Africa for the Africans.org is the organization. We're talking about repatriation tours, investment tours, just to go home and find your family and eat your food and feel what it feels like to be able to walk down the street, see a policeman, smile at him, and know that you're waving and smiling at somebody who sees himself fundamentally as your brother, your sister. It's a beautiful thing. Africa for the Africans. Give us a call if you want to speak with Brother Bomani, ask any questions about the tours and how you might be accompanying them on one of their many upcoming tours. We'll announce some dates and travel times here in just a little bit. But call us, area code 646-716-9835. That's our Blog Talk Radio queue. Hit the 1 button when you're in the queue. That'll send me a flag and let me know you do want to speak today. And those phone numbers to call in, in case you missed that, are on the front page of libradio.com. Brother Bomani, you do have some trips coming up. What's your travel schedule like over the coming seasons?
Yes, I have mapped out the 2017 schedule based on my experience and created the 2018 schedule. So literally we just got back from Ethiopia, Ghana, and Brazil in like a 2.5, 3 month time frame from May to July. And it was a whole lot of work, but it was like the best summer I've had in my whole life, even though we're doing a lot of documentation in different countries. So next year, lined up to where we have Ghana, 4 regions. That's a 13-day tour from May 23rd to June 5th, 2018. Then we have the midsummer journey to Brazil, July 20th to the 29th, 2018, and that's a full 9-day journey. You have 4 full days in Rio de Janeiro, 4 full days in Salvador, and you have 1 full travel day on the way back while you're going from Salvador to Rio and then Rio back to the U.S. So we have video footage of both journeys right there on the YouTube page. And the final journey is my most excited journey. I've just fell in love with Ethiopia based on the connection you and I had with the rest of the year. It's still growing on me. So we have Ethiopia for November 16th to the 26th, and then we have an optional Tanzania that's added on from the 26th to the 30th of November. So, family, those are our 3 countries, those are the 4 countries that we go into, and look forward to keep on building and learning more about Africa so we can share more and connect more with our brothers and sisters and other people that are doing other journeys to other countries. I'm open to connecting and open to build relationships. So anybody that's out there, because there's many other African countries that I've known nothing about, but sometimes you just need a connection.
Man, that is really, really awesome. Africa for the Africans.org, tours and investments. And we cannot overemphasize the critical need for us to not just go there and do the tourism thing, but the investment thing. Brother Bomani, I have a whole shelves of library books, and I think I've ordered another 1 or so yesterday, verifying that African investments or investments on the African continent across the board, you could talk almost in any sector, or these investments are bringing great return on investment. Even the broken clock, that is the President of the United States, himself said a week or so ago about Africa, he said, a lot of my friends are going to Africa to make money.
Wow, number 45 was talking about that? What?
He said that. He said that. Now, but see, everyone else wants to get a hype on him for making his tweets and his goofy statements. But when he makes that statement, a lot of my friends are going to Africa to make money. I didn't pick up on any big reaction response to that. A couple of people noticed it. But other than that, most people ignore that. Brother Bomani, what is going on? Let me ask you this. Why do you think so many people of African heritage in this country have this aversion to want to think, talk, speak about, or feel some loyalty to the African continent?
It's one of those painful situations where sometimes I feel like we've just been educated to hate our roots and culture based on things that we're being given and presented. It couldn't be furthermore from this the biggest scam. The love and energy of our people is incredible, and I know sometimes we have brothers and sisters that come from the African continent and come here. Their focus is a little different, and the reason why, just like some of our folks from the Caribbean islands, is a lot of times we're responsible for making cash and doing work and taking care of our family back home, whether it's in the Caribbean or in Africa. But nevertheless, we have to just really engage each other. That's why we have to really just put good media information in front of our people. And, so based on all the things that were presented as this civil war and drama in Africa, it does still have that psychological effect today. And that's one of the things that, myself and my partners deal with when we're trying to recruit people. And we have to really just, put people in front of fresh information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And as media, as ones who capture these ideas and diffuse them amongst our population, you and I, we do the best we can to let the people know that it is worth your investigating it personally, worth your taking the time to go see up close and personal whether or not this does fit your idea of empowering yourself and your family for the generations ahead. Brother Bomani, for so many reasons, it's time that people go ahead and get it together and get a chance to see this up close and personal. And of all of the trips that I have made to Africa, and I've been very fortunate to have been able to make 7 trips so far. Of all the trips I've made to Africa, it was the trips with Africa for the Africans that I thought were the most fulfilling and complete. And I loved every trip. Let me tell you, I loved every trip.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your energy. And one of the things is always to add substance to it. One of the things that we've been over-popularized with is a lot of educational trip. So education naturally is always fine. That's mandatory to keep in the program. But you have to go a little above and beyond and look at the other aspects of things in the country. And I do understand some people that are tour organizers, they're not exactly, thinking about living in Africa, and they don't have to. But it's like the people that you're dealing with, you just never know what might trigger them and what might change their life. Like Dahoudi, Shamsuddin, and several other people, they never thought that they would be living in Ghana. So the fact that we shared information about investments and repatriation, even when I was still trying to build my mindset about the clarity of repatriation, it helped other people realize, they literally compare that experience and that vision and then compare it to what their life will be or could be in America, especially during the long run when you get older, and they stick you up in one of those high rises and fill you up with pills throughout the week and just kill you slowly, and you can be focused and realigned into a community sense where you're around people of your age but also the younger generation, and you're just out in nature.
That's right. That's right. So very true. Africa for the Africans.org is where you learn more. I did put the link up on the social media page. And take the time, people. If we're going to spend X amount of times, X amount of minutes or hours or so per week going over conspiracy theories about what's happening in the news, all this time talking about laughing at the 45th president of the United States for his machinations, then at least, people, set aside some time to think about your and your children's true African future. It's worth it. It's a great investment. Just give it the time, You've got some beautiful photo galleries and videos and things that you've pushed up, Brother Bomani. How can people access those?
Perfect. The videos, I have over 1,000 videos from '07 to 2017 on YouTube. So it's youtube.com/Bomani 2007. And you can also just type my name in, Bomani Tayemba, and you'll see me in my black and gold dashiki. And right now we're at 2,311 subscribers, and it's a commercial-free video experience where it's a lot of presentation, conference call, interviews, and the day-to-day aspects of what we do on all of our tours to Ethiopia, Ghana, and Brazil. As far as the photos, they're on Facebook, facebook.com/Bomani, or you can type me in Bomani Tayemba, and you'll see me right there in my Ethiopia jersey. And that give you access to all of the photo galleries that we have done in Ghana, and then as of lately, Brazil and Ethiopia. So it's we're heavy into documentation because we want people to get a visual feel of what they're looking to experience. I don't want people to feel like they're coming to Africa and there's a chance that a lion or a tiger might eat them, or or other crazy things, or somebody might put them in a pot. I mean, sometimes we laugh at these things, but I still hear people, asking questions: are these things going to happen to me? And so that's what I like about this visual documentation. And for those people who have those big 4K fancy TV, you can watch us on YouTube right there in 4K Ultra HD. We want to give you the best experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Now, for people, you had mentioned a number of people like Brother Daudi, Shamsuddin, Sister Amicus, and a number of others who have repatriated. And especially with regards to people that are retirement age or on fixed income. The cost of living in a city, because the majority of black people in the United States are living in metropolitan areas. They're living in cities, either cities or the suburbs.
Unfortunately.
The cost of living in these cities can be rather immense. I remember the struggles that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was going through trying to hold on to her home while the whole neighborhood around her was being gentrified. And that put a tremendous amount of psychological stress on her. Living in a place like Washington, D.C., to be able to own, say, a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom home, 2 baths, nice neighborhood, safe neighborhood, the cost of owning a home like that is probably going to run somebody on the low end maybe $400,000, $300,000, $400,000 to maybe on the high end in $600,000 or more.
Wow, I can build a whole community in Africa for that.
I was just about to say, if a person were on a fixed income, they have, let's say, $350,000 of equity in a home. They still may be making payments on it, but that's how much equity they have built up in a home. And they're on a fixed income, say, $2,500 a month coming in, which is kind of struggling life in this country, especially if you're still paying a mortgage note or a rent. What could they do if they were able to transfer that $350,000 of equity, cash equity, and an additional $2,500 a month coming in? What kind of life could they live on the African continent? Let's say Ghana, because Ghana is almost like Georgia, if you ask me.
Yeah, they can live an incredible life, and the good thing about it, they can not only take care of themselves, but they can begin to invest that money to where they're hiring people, or they're investing it with their own brothers and sisters that have visions to doing things in a more of a community society. Because I just really, believe that, we should just get back to community, even if it's just like we build communities of 50 people and so on. It's just, so that would be a great investment towards that. But that monthly amount that person's making, you'll do fine in Africa, and you'll be able to get the best natural health care. Because people always ask me about health, about hospitals and things like that. And but what everyone has to realize is that all of the medicine and everything that you need to survive and live the healthiest life, they grow in a country like Ghana, and they grow especially in those areas that we're moving to, like in the center of the country. So you can literally change your whole life and start just living to where you're investing in community, and you're building something with your brothers and sisters, and make life more meaningful. And then you're also contributing to the growth and development of the African continent. So I just feel like that's the only way that we should really do it. We shouldn't make it to where we go to Africa and we're struggling and putting the burden on the continent, or, we should just go there to just, get busy. And that's what I like about what's going on right now in Ghana. All of the people that we know, they're very progressive and incredible people, and they're doing wonderful things. The only aspect of things I would say is Nunet in Benue Village, she is building a community, and that's, I'd like to see more of us build, even if it's just getting 10 to 20 acres of land or even less. And that would change the cost of living for those that are to come, because they literally share the aspects of how we do our water system, electrical system, and anything else that we need, including organic farming, and being able to really just know what we're eating and know what, kind of water we're drinking every day. Yeah. So you're only getting a life where the cost of living is low and pure, but you're getting this high quality of life. And that's why I always want to clear up with people that you're not moving to Africa to have a lower quality of life. But you also have to think about being sustainable, because if you don't, then you're just going to be stuck in our crowd where it's expensive, and you might want to go in one of them high rises, and then, you're still in Africa, but to really experience the African energy, you want, those are the things that, we're looking to get people connected to.
Yeah. That's an important point that you make, in that you talked about the health aspects. The person who does stay in America, living in these cities, chances are they're eating food that's not necessarily fit to be eating. Most of the people living in these environments are not growing their own food as elders, etc. So therefore, they're eating compromised food. The medical care expenses are exorbitant, with 60% of Americans over the age of 20 on some form of pharmaceutical drug prescription. So that's the other aspect of it, is that moving to Africa can unburden people from many of these chronic degenerative diseases that people are getting with and suffering with: diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, cancers, etc. The rates of those chronic diseases are lower on the African continent, even though there are still rates of infectious diseases, parasitic diseases, that are higher in Africa, but those are not necessarily diseases that affect wealthy people.
Once you adjust some of the environment, like people talk about the water, and people getting water illness and things like that. I understand it's a bad situation in certain village, but it doesn't mean that if I repatriate, that's what we have access to. But what you want to do also, you want to bring any knowledge and know-how of adjusting the environment that you're going to live in. So those of us that are coming in, we just have to bring certain resources and connect it to what's there and what our people are into, and that's the ultimate. That's where you're going to gain that quality of life. That's where you're going to begin to just really connect to what's true community. And that's why I enjoy just being up there in Benue Village. Nunet has it open to where she's there, and there's a village before and after her, and she's just completely open to that experience, to where, it's not just a group of brothers and sisters from the diaspora that's living together. It's like fully infused, and she's like married into the culture. It's incredible. But maybe there's people like myself look at it like that. But we do our best to share with our brothers and sisters, and we understand that not everybody's gonna get that aspect that I want to go and live in Africa and move in the middle of the country and be fully sustainable. But when we're thinking about our future and our longevity, we really have to begin to step away from some of the things that we've been doing over and over that's killing us. Like you talk about living in the city, that's like living in prison. It's just like these are environments that don't have the cultivation that you need to just keep growing and being strong. I look at Imacus, and there's no way you can look at Imacus and tell her and say that she's 75. You look at her. I'm talking to those who have never met Imacus. She can pass for 40, 45.
That's right.
And that's from living in Ghana for 30 years, right by the beach, in a quality environment of just purity, and not taking hot showers every day and things like that.
That's right. And Brother Dawoodi, Brother Dawoodi was diagnosed with a serious life-threatening disease living in the Bay Area. He's going home to the African continent and he's outlived that diagnosis by a decade now.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
And he's
living
his life.
I think he wouldn't have made it here.
He even had a baby born since he went there. So rather than die, he went there and lived.
You're building a new generation. That's incredible.
So that's what we're talking about, Brother Bomani. Callers, we'd love to hear from you today. Area code 646-716-9835. Talking with Brother Bomani, Africa for the Africans, about the repatriation and investment tours that they take so frequently, and how you and I really need to consider being on these tours and sharing this destiny to the very best of our ability. We really need to consider this. Brother Bomani, what aspects of this? We were talking about Ethiopia. Now, I was looking at the website. I was a little bit confused with the Ethiopian date. It said in one paragraph, Ethiopian Roots and Culture Tour, October 7 to 16, 2017, has been rescheduled with optional tour to Tanzania, November 16th or 30th. So the tour that would have been this coming up to Ethiopia has been pushed back 1 year, but then expanded into Tanzania. That's correct?
Exactly. You got it right on point. And which that November tour was the original. But once I got back from Ethiopia in May, I was trying to look at the rest of our schedule, and that was the only dates I had available was October.
And
I was hoping
pushing
that
it
people
too much.
I was hoping that people was excited as me and would just jump on a journey, but that never happened. But nevertheless, I realized that we just adjust the schedule and just put it at a time where we had all of the big tours that, which was always in October, November. Even this one is November 17th, and it's 40 of us. So I'm hoping that energy would transpire to people who have even traveled to Ghana with us in the past. Say, hey, I've had a wonderful journey. Let me check out the Ethiopia program, and it's a program that we're building in the same phase of repatriation and investment. I just feel like at this time, those of us who are traveling to the African continent and have access to connect with people, we should really push this energy for repatriation and investment, which is going to ultimately grow the continent and create opportunities for more and more of our brothers and sisters that may not necessarily want to be here or feel like this is where they belong.
And let me tell you, the trip that we made together with the Pan-African Technical Association, Brother Yao, that was just absolutely awesome. Ethiopia is to fall in love with almost immediately. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I told people that's automatically, it became my second favorite country. And it's hard to top Ghana for me, but Ethiopia, I mean, that's incredible. And then the fact, when you really think about what His Majesty Haile Selassie did for repatriation, the fact that even with his president in Jamaica, which really pushed a lot of energy from Rastas in different Caribbean islands to repatriate. Those are most of the people that I met, different Rastas in the Caribbean community. But it was always a push he was pushing for the Africans in the diaspora in general. It's just more for our brothers that are embrace the Rastafarianism. They took advantage of the opportunity, but that was one of the best things. It was just me and Jennifer that went down there, but I was able to incorporate that into the itinerary, which wasn't in the original itinerary for November of next year. So it's part of that merge. So
yeah, and for people out there familiar with Rastafarianism, when you travel to Ethiopia, for me, the idea of being within a truly Christian country, this was the most in-depth experience that I'd ever had. A truly Christian country, not just this superficiality that we get here. We got a caller on hold, but did you want to respond to that before we take this call, or you want to take this call?
Yeah, I mean, we know Christianity has been part of this ongoing many things in different countries, but it was at a different level, like architectural, more spiritual, and want people to know that when you see that we're going to certain churches, look at it a different light. Don't look at it as you're going to your church here in America. Look at it as our ancestors are trying to build elements of structures to where we can have our those who are, are Christians can have their pilgrimage there in Ethiopia versus going somewhere else. So, I thought it was a wonderful thing, and I look forward to this going back and just learning more.
That's right. That's right. So let's take a phone call. Area code 661. You're on with Bomani Tayemba, Africa for the Africans. Give us your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Brother Irby calling from Torrance, California. Good to hear Brother Bomani's voice this morning. Greetings.
Greetings, brother. Good to hear you.
All right, brother.
Brother Bomani, I have a white business associate who at the beginning of the year in January opened an office in Ghana, and he sells nutritional supplements via network marketing, and the Ghanaian people have embraced this concept. They have grown from 0 sales in January to $250,000 a month in sales that generate $60,000 in bonuses to the Ghanaian people. Why do you believe that the Ghanaian people are embracing this type of opportunity, but African Americans are still kind of sluggish with it?
Network marketing is a popular phenomenon across the globe, and people have used it to do wonderful things here and make things happen now. But I'm not aware of that in Ghana, and if it's a strategy that works, maybe more of us should use it. But don't really have an opinion on the whole network marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe in community strategy.
What does the new $58,000 a month in sales bonuses, how does that have an impact, or what impact does that have on the Ghanaian community there that are taking advantage of it or that are receiving it?
Yeah, good question. That's spending power, buying power, and people like myself, I would harness that energy to, develop communally outside of the cities and put the level of natural infrastructure in place. Just basically reinvesting it in the country and the people and creating economic opportunities and so-called JOBs, and that's what I would use it for. But as far as folks, I can't say, but it does impact the economy as far as as far as investment.
Mm-hmm. And I would say further that this provides a concentration of capital, a cash flow concentration that should be used, as Bomani said, to develop Ghana's own indigenous industries. And Ghana has tremendous agricultural export industry as well as petroleum export industry. But their ability to process those natural resources locally to finished products and either use them for domestic consumption or to mark up in value and then export. Europe is Ghana's best export market for many African nations. That is the sustainable future that we're going to be talking about. Too often, Brother Irby, we will attempt to market products created in the West and distribute them to the African nations. And many of these products we're creating in the West are made from African natural resources. Cotton is one example. They grow excellent organic cotton in places like Uganda, but that cotton is not locally processed. It's exported and then re-imported in the form of finished goods, finished fabrics, clothes, T-shirts, etc., etc., etc. So the key to turning Africa around will be foreign direct investment in industries that spark localized industrial productivity and creation of products and services, finished goods. Brother Bomani, does that synchronize with what you have observed?
Yes, absolutely. It's going back to self-reliance and being self-sufficient. You use what you have at the moment, and that's what I'm always talking about, sustainability and us developing other parts of the country that's not developed into where we begin to just alleviate ourselves with all the stress that we put on the city and us being more congested.
Mm-hmm. Brother Irby, did you have a follow-up comment or question?
I agree with both you and Brother Bomani on building the infrastructure to create the products and market the products. Create them in Africa, market them in Africa. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think that when I see what happened with this network marketing opportunity is it provides more proof to people to understand that the countries in Africa they have viable consumers, they make good business decisions, they can grow, they can build things, they understand marketing concepts, and they're kicking African Americans behind, so why not invest there and create plants on those countries or in those countries?
Yeah, excellent point. And yeah, these are more and more, and that's like I talk about when you on the plane and you're traveling. When you go to the business district and you go in there to do business, you see Asians, Caucasians, they're lined up doing their thing. So absolutely, and I guess you just have to keep on presenting it to our people over and over that if even if you have business enterprise going on here, you can expand that enterprise that you have and build in Africa. That market is there, as you say. Consumers and people that can build and grow with you, and it's sometimes I want people to think that Africa is just a continent full of just people who just like live in a different different age or something
with their hand out. Herbie, you're going to be joining us at the top of the hour. In just about 10 minutes, you're going to be coming up. Tell the people why they do want to stick around and hear what you have to share.
Well, we're going to be talking about Healthy Heart Neighborhoods. The Carson Christian Center here in Carson, California, and Forex Wellness are launching its campaign to develop Healthy Heart Neighborhoods here in Southern California beginning November 4th. We're going to lay out their plan and how it's going to impact the community and really dethrone heart disease in the Carson community area.
All right, Brother Herbie. Thanks for that promo. We'll be talking to you in just a few minutes. All right.
Peace,
Anyone
brother.
else wishing to call in? You're going to do so real quick. We're down to the last segment of our show. Area code 646-716-9835. Press the 1 button if you're in the queue. That'll send me a flag and let me know you have something you want to share as well. Brother Bomani, when we talk about building long-term relations, the investment, foreign direct investment, is very critically needed across the African continent. Africa needs trade, not aid. It needs investment and development. And among the many areas that Africa is greatly benefiting from these investments are technology transfers. On the trips that I have made with you, I have been able to bring along laptops. I don't know if you can remember, but I would always carry like 4 or 5 laptops with me.
Cameras and camcorders. I've seen you give them away religiously.
That's right. And it makes great sense. The last time I went to Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is moving now at a much faster rate, much further along, this time I took a stack of highly advanced university-level textbooks on things like thermodynamics and nanotechnology and advanced robotics and technology that will be taught at the grad level at the universities of Bahir Dar and Addis Ababa. For our listeners out there, can you just emphasize the point, because I know you're involved in a technology career as well as myself, how important it is that we see the mundane technologies that we're exposed to in a situation like a developing African nation or villages or local schools. These technologies will really empower the youth to take power for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to go. When you talk about computers, cameras, camcorders, you're talking about organizing documentation, and you're talking about sharing it with the world. For myself, that's how my business run completely. My IT service business is called Bomani Technology. That's the same technology energy we use to build the websites, do all the marketing, create everything. It just puts you in a world of control of giving your business enterprise that fine touch, that personal touch. Like you'll see us in videos, and we're in different scenery around the world. In Atlanta, and parts of where we travel, and it really just gives the people that are looking to purchase our tour service or consultation a good feel. So it makes it to where it brings in the phone calls of the people who feel what you're doing and want to link with you. So for someone like myself, we don't do a whole lot of talking and just out there physically presenting consistently. It allows me to just share with people in a high presentation mode. So it's just something that we just have to keep on grafting. And this is also what we use to just do a lot of the networking and connection. So looking forward to set up the Intechimon and looking to just have a full center dedicated to technology training and development, and also just be selling services remotely via the call center that we'll build and things like that. So just looking to also just get into it practically, where we have young brothers and sisters from the different villages that are open to that career. They'll be able to just have a facility close where they could connect with us, and people like myself, all I want to do is share everything that I've learned and been blessed with as far as just my travel experience and my skills, just going from electrical to electronic systems in high school to working on aircraft systems in the military, working on aircraft systems here at the airport, and then getting into computer systems here on an independent level, and just using it to build and run, a too small business enterprise.
And one of the key things, last time I went with Africa for the Africans, I think you remember, we took over an entire FM radio station.
Yeah, that was awesome. Excellent work. The whole LIB community.
That's right. Yeah, we had a massive community, and everybody pitched in and helped, and I was wonderfully fortunate to have been at the center of the project. So, that trip paid for my trip to go over and set it up and train it. Ultimately, it didn't necessarily turn out like we'd imagined it would, but we did do it, and that's a major thing. Now, I am saying that we need to start scaling up our ambitions and thoughts, and one of my big visions is, and I'm launching this vision for next year, is that I want to go there and take an integrated, sustainable energy grid, what are called microgrids. They're big in India now. The private utility companies are starting up microgrids in rural areas where they're not able to string a bunch of power lines and this and that. And they're taking over photovoltaic, solar panels. They're taking over solar thermal, which is using these mirrors to heat up tanks full of water to turn generators. They're taking over wind generators. You could use, there are different integrated technologies, biomass technologies. I want to take over a microgrid. It will be experimental, the first one, that basically relies upon 4 different sustainable energy technologies that can be set up a microgrid that would empower a village or so, say, that's not connected to the national grid line. Your thoughts on something like that?
Kitty, that's exactly what we need there in Benue village, and also the Africa for Africans repatriation community. That is it right there. And just as you mentioned, and that adds and fit into what we're talking about when we talk about being communal. You want to be able to, be to where you have your own power system that you can power, maybe a whole community of 30 to 50 homes, and including the relative business close by. So, once I get experience with that with you, I'm looking to get access to one of those myself as we begin to do the research for all the equipment that you need, because I do need us to get a bill of manufacturing, just building, and just have different things in there. That way we could just do things on a small scale, and make it more like research and development. But that is perfect. I would love to see the details that you have for this microgrid. I really feel like that's the way to go. I wrote it in a business plan. That's what the community will be powered by, because you can tie in wind, solar, and you can tie in also regular electrical power into the system, right?
Yeah. And
a lot of other options also.
Yeah, it can be a grid tied system, as you mentioned, but this is the future, the sustainable future. And when we talk about technology in Africa, there's this phenomenon called leapfrogging. You're familiar with that term?
Leapfrogging. I've heard about it before.
Yeah, essentially leapfrogging. It took the America and Western countries 100 years to wire the whole country with copper wires so that everyone in America could have access to a telephone. Well, with mobile technology, it didn't take Africa 100 years for everybody to take a telephone. A lot of the people nowadays are using mobile pay, or you have Apple Pay or some other pay. I think Google and others have them, that you can just use your mobile phone to pay for your goods and services. Don't need a credit card, don't need a debit card, don't need cash. Just use your phone. Most people don't know that that was pioneered. It was first developed in Kenya, called M-Pesa, using their mobile communications. So leapfrogging is essentially that Africans gain access to technologies that didn't exist 100 years ago, and now they can speed up the pace by which they see industrial development in their countries. We're going to have to wrap it up for right now, Brother Bomani. I want you to tell people how they can maintain contact with you, get further information, maybe get on your mailing list.
Absolutely, family. To learn more about our details of our cultural journeys, visit our website at africafortheafricans.org. Email us at afta2010@msn.com. Or you can call me directly at 404-931-9429, and we can connect with you. YouTube page, youtube.com/Bomani2007 or Bomani Tayemba. And same thing on Facebook, Bomani Tayemba, or Facebook.com/Bomani, and just view the details, link with me, and I'm open to connect with any brothers and sisters that's interested in repatriation and investment, or just general tours to Africa.
All right, Brother Bomani, thanks so much for bringing it strong, as you always do on LIB Radio. Let's start doing this regularly, if you don't mind. Maybe we can pick a day a month that we're going to remind people.
We talk about every first Friday, 12 noon.
Every first Friday is great. The bottom line is, Brother Bomani, we want the people who listen to us to prioritize African tourism, trade, investment, and development. At least prioritize this as much as we do NFL players bowing on one knee, which they have the right to do, should be respected for that. Right. Or prioritize machinations that involve the 45th president. Prioritize a sustainable African future. Am I correct?
Absolutely, and that's how we're going to make Africa grow and make Africa great again. So it's not going to magically happen. We have to just put the work in, but it's in our divine fate to make it happen.
All right. Thank you much, Brother Bomani. To anyone out there who missed this first hour conversation, do go to 7mac.com. That is our LIB Radio archives. 7mac.com will get you right through. africafortheafricans.org. Spelled with a C, not a K. That's going to get you and your loved ones on the plane, and you will get a chance to see what has got the rest of us so excited. Stick around. Irving Phillips Jr. coming up after a 2-minute pass.
High, Carry on like a massacre. Islam,